Hey everybody, welcome back to Cavanaugh's Corner. Today on the channel I'm going to be talking about a movie that was actually sent to me by a good friend of mine, and it's a gentleman named Lee. He runs a Instagram page over at Cluzy's 4K Movie Corner, and he sent me this. This is the 4K Ultra HD Blu-ray of The Elephant Man, the David Lynch film starring Anthony Hopkins, John Hurt, Anne Bancroft, Sir John Gielgud. I mean, so many fantastic actors. I love this movie. And I was really excited to get this because this is a movie that's only available in Europe. It's a release from Studio Canal, and it's actually a 3-disc set, and I'm going to show you right here. There is the 4K disc, which is right here, and then there's actually 2 Blu-rays. One has the feature film and a whole other one here for just the bonus features. And it's really a fantastic set. And the funny thing is, the thing I wanted to do with this is I definitely wanted to watch it because last year I reviewed the Criterion disc, which is here in my other hand. And I really love this disc. This was a phenomenal transfer here from Criterion. Come to find out, it is actually the same transfer that this 4K disc is based on. They basically just, scaled it down for a 1080p Blu-ray here on the Criterion disc. Sadly, up until like a month ago, we did not have Criterion in 4K. We are going to be getting that soon. But I wanted to talk about this 4K disc here because, again, it was sent to me by Lee there. And thank you again, Lee, for that. That was absolutely beautiful of you to do that. And I really do love this film. So I wanted to see what the differential was between this and this. And honestly, talk about, the picture quality, obviously the HDR that's on this disc, because this disc actually does have HDR10 and Dolby Vision, which I think is really fantastic. And just kind of compare it to the Criterion disc here. And first and foremost, I want to talk about the picture quality, of course, and it being the same transfer. My main thing being I wanted to see what the HDR did for this disc that you don't get with the Criterion here. And the biggest thing is the black levels. Now, for those of you that have not seen The Elephant Man, it is a black and white film, and it was decidedly made in black and white due to the setting of the film, the time period, and also, strangely enough, the makeup that John Hurt wears in the film. It actually kind of makes it a little more easier to look at, I guess you could say. The idea of this man being so heavily deformed, I guess it was decided that it made the makeup almost beautiful to look at versus grotesque, which is the feeling that I think Lynch and everybody else associated with this production wanted to have towards Merrick's character in the film, John Hurt's part in the film, and he is absolutely phenomenal. And the fact that he can act so well underneath so much makeup was really a testament to that man's acting skill. It really is amazing. But the one thing I wanted to mention right away about the 4K disc here is, like I said, it does have HDR10 and Dolby Vision. Ironically enough, that is not advertised at all anywhere on the packaging, which I think is really a shame because it really should stand out that this has Dolby Vision in it. And I did watch it in Dolby Vision, and I have to say, the biggest difference between these two discs is the fact that the picture on the 4K disc is just a little bit darker, but the HDR really makes it so the black levels are much more definitive on this, than it is on the Criterion disc. The black levels are much deeper. There are more of them, honestly, in this. And it's kind of crazy how that can happen when it's just black and white, but there are many shades of black and many shades of white when you shoot on black and white film, which this movie was shot in. And I think, that extra layer of black in this really does make it a much more vivid film experience, as vivid as black and white can be. This is really it, and it's amazing how beautiful this movie looks. Now, the one thing I have to say is that unless you're really going back and forth between these two, the differences are very hard to see. So much so that I shot little snippets of the film from both discs, and honestly, I'm not even going to use those video clips in this video because my camera that I use could not percept the differences. It is really an eye type of thing, and honestly, if you don't really have that trained eye, you may not even notice it. But going back and forth between the two discs in particular scenes, it was very apparent. Is it an extreme difference? I wouldn't say it's an extreme difference. It's a slight difference, but there is a difference there. And again, that HDR really does make some highlights with some of the brighter scenes pop a little bit more, but it also lends a lot to those black levels, and it really is a fantastic transfer by Studio Canal. They did a great job here. For the sound levels, the sound on this is actually the exact same soundtrack you get on the Criterion disc. It's a 2.0 DTS HD master audio track, and there is no 5.1 track on either one of these. And I guess that's because when they tried to do a 5.1 track, it actually detracted from the audio instead of helping. So they kept the original 2.0 stereo track, and there's nothing wrong with it. It sounds great. It's phenomenal. The music score is beautiful. The dialogue is crystal clear. I mean, really, it's great the way it is. There's really no need to mess it up. But that uncompressed audio track is really beautiful, and I think it's fantastic. I really liked it, and again, same thing you're getting on the Criterion disc. Other than that, the other thing I wanted to talk about with this 4K disc is there are two special features on the 4K disc and others that are on the standard Blu-ray that are actually not on this Criterion disc. One of them is called Photographing the Elephant Man, which is an interview with still photographer Frank Connor, who did a lot of the on-set photography for promotions and stills and stuff for the movie. It's a very interesting little interview. It's about a half an hour long. And this guy has been in the business for many, many years. He does a lot of work with Michael Mann, who he mentions in the interview here. And it's a great documentary, little interview, I should say, not a documentary, but it's a great little interview. And then there's also a BFI Q&A with Jonathan Sanger, who is the producer, one of the producers of the film. And that's a nice little Q&A where he talks about the beginning process of making the film, working with Mel Brooks, working with David Lynch, working, with John Hurt and the amazing, acting that he did for the film. It's really a great little interview. That's also about a half an hour long. The sad thing is, though, is that I don't have a region-free Blu-ray player. The Sony Blu-ray player that I finally got back. Again, I'm really glad that I got it back. But the Blu-ray player is not region-free, so I'm not able to watch the bonus feature disc that comes with this. Maybe someday I'll be able to afford that 4K Blu-ray player that's region-free. But for now, sadly, it's a little bit out of my budget. But that also has an interview with David Lynch, an interview with John Hurt. There's actually an entire interview with David Lynch at the Cartier Foundation, which is called The Air is on Fire, which I really wish I could have seen because David Lynch's interviews are phenomenal. And then there's a couple other things on here. Mike Figgis interviewing David Lynch. And there's actually a documentary that is on this Criterion disc that's called The Terrible Elephant Man Revealed, which is like a making of documentary of the film that is on this. And Joseph Merrick, The Real Elephant Man, which is a documentary about the actual story of Merrick, which the movie is based on. So again, sadly, couldn't see all those things, but hopefully, you know, someday I'll be able to watch it. Now, really, what is my verdict on this versus this? My verdict is this. If Criterion re-releases this in a 4K, it might be worth the rebuy, but honestly, if you have this Criterion disc, it's not a massive differential between the two. Since it is the exact same transfer, if you're watching this Blu-ray upscaled to 4K, I think you're going to be just fine. However, if you do have the ability to get this 4K disc and you do want to see the movie in an absolutely stunning quality, not that this isn't, this is great, the Criterion disc is great, this is just a hair better. And again, if you can afford it, you can import it, you know, go ahead, do it. For me, again, this was beautiful because this was a gift to me. So I got lucky, and again, thank you, Lee, for sending this out to me. I do recommend this 4K disc, just slightly over this one. But again, if this is all you can get for the time being, it's well worth it still, especially if you can pick it up on sale. This is a fantastic disc from Criterion, but this transfer on this 4K disc is just a hair better. So again, that's my review of that 4K disc of The Elephant Man from Studio Canal. I just want to say thank you all for coming back to the channel. Thank you for being patient while I waited for Sony to send me out that 4K Blu-ray player. Thankfully, this new one now seems to be working really well, and I hope it stays that way for a lot longer than the other one did. So thank you so much. Again, if you enjoyed this video, please hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel below so I can continue to bring you more videos like this in the future. Until then, please stay safe and take it easy.